Welcome to Beware of Spoilers. I'm Adam,
I'm Peter.
and we usually don't do this show live, but I wanted to make sure it goes up. The pre-thoughts on Doctor Strange before the movie comes out.
We
Ordinarily,
are
we
currently sitting in an empty movie theater about to watch.
no, no. Usually we see the movie on Thursday night, but due to scheduling mix-ups and issues with coordinating across a 3-hour time difference, we're not doing that this week. Um, we are seeing it on Saturday. But today is Thursday, November 3rd. Wednesday, November. No, today's Thursday. Thursday,
Yep.
November 3rd. And we're going to talk about Doctor Strange before we see it. Neither of us have been spoiled in the movie. Have you been spoiled in the movie yet?
No, this is like the least knowledge I have of a Marvel movie going into it.
Yeah. Um, I have a theory about this movie, but let's talk about how it's been received critically first before we go into that. Um, the movie
Been
currently is
doing pretty
sitting
good.
at 90% on Rotten Tomatoes out of 169 reviews.
Hey,
Um,
it is a 74 on Metacritic, which I feel like is more accurate of where it should be.
yeah, or I have 72 on Metacritic.
No, I'm on IMDb, so it's 74. So
I'm on Metacritic website. It says 72. Not
maybe
that it's that big a
Metacritic's
deal if it's that
website.
big of a
Yeah,
difference.
2
But
points.
it's accurate. I mean,
Yeah, so that's getting good reviews.
yeah.
That's what I expected to be good. So
I don't expect it to be
because
that good. I expect it to tread the same ground that Iron Man did. I think
they
this is
are
going to be
similar.
the soft reboot of the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
What if it ends up being like Scientology propaganda, and he realizes that modern medical science is all a lie, and it just becomes like a Scientology movie?
That's basically what the movie is. Um, yeah. Um, but like, what's it called? I completely lost my train of thought. Um, the I think that actually is what the movie is to an extent because he does try actual medicine and that doesn't work. So he goes to
That his hands explode.
yeah, and then he goes to what's it called Tibet or not Tibet because Australia won't watch the movie then. Um, and learns from a Celtic ancient magic warrior, Tilda Swinton, how to do magic.
Who just happens to live in this
Not
place?
Tibet.
Yeah,
um, I think the what's it called? The number one thing about this movie that's going to be I think this movie is going to function. I said before, it's a function as a soft reboot. I think this is going to be Iron Man. It's going to be very similar to the first Iron Man movie because I think they want to back the Avengers on Benedict Cumberbatch and Doctor Strange going forward.
yeah, this supernatural Iron Man basically.
Yeah, because the origin story is similar enough. He's a cocky, self-absorbed person who gets into an accident and gets knocked down a peg. Then he's got to come to terms and use his knowledge, or in this case, like learn more based on the fact that he's very smart already, to become the hero and put aside his selfish tendencies. Um, Going along with that, I think that if this is like Iron Man, I think in this movie they're going to tease Dormammu in the same way in Iron Man they tease the Mandarin, where the
Do you
big
think
people put the
it will
Ten
pay
Rings being
off
there.
better?
Hmm?
Do you think it will pay off better?
I hope so because I think the Mandarin is going to be the villain in the second one, like full on magic Mandarin is going to be the villain of the second Doctor Strange movie, or maybe they'll just do Avengers 5 versus the Mandarin with full magic. Um, but I think the Mandarin will come back into play because of Doctor Strange. And then I think in the third Doctor Strange movie, they're either going to go full Dormammu as the villain, or they're just going to have Ben Kingsley come in and be an actor pretending to be Dormammu the whole time, and it's not
Hmm.
real. Um, but I don't know.
That'd
I
be
have
really
high
annoying.
hopes for this movie going into it because like the trailers have looked really good, and it looks like they're going like full on like with the psychedelic like looks that created Doctor Strange into what he was when
Kaleidoscope.
he gained popularity. And what's it called? Do you have any other thoughts on the movie?
I don't know. I like Benedict Cumberbatch a lot, so I think just having him and Tilda Swinton in it will be good enough for any movie. So I think that's like already puts them high up enough for me. And then Doctor Strange can be very good, but I'm afraid because he's like so powerful, where they might show him doing things, and then later on there's going to be a point where I'm just like, why doesn't he just do that again? And then he won't do it. I don't know if that makes sense.
These movies, like what's it called in Iron Man
With
2,
Apocalypse,
when he's got that thing when he can like shoot the thing, when he can shoot everyone in a circle. I was like, oh, I can only do that once.
And it's same with Apocalypse, where he like kills everyone with sand, and then he never does that again.
Exactly. He beheads 3 people in a row without lifting a finger, and then he's like, let me just walk slowly toward Magneto.
Yep. Yeah. So hopefully that does not happen. I think they'll be smarter than that, but not sure. But I'm looking forward to this. But I also I just didn't really do that much research at all. I just saw the trailers, and like I followed it a little bit. Actually, just some of the stuff about like people freaking out about it being like Tilda Swinton playing that character.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the effects are gonna be really cool. Like just from the trailer, the scenes of like the city copying itself and like folding over and over. The villain looks kind of weird. I don't know how that will do.
Mads Mikkelsen's playing him.
I think it's gonna be another forgetful villain.
I think so too. I think what it's gonna be is Mads Mikkelsen's gonna be playing he's gonna be playing someone who is in league to get Dormammu like released. Like one of like the people who like wants him released, and like the likes of what's his name, who gave Ghost Rider his powers, Mephisto. Like he's gonna be wanting to unleash all of the villains from the Dark Dimension, that can like destroy the world for whatever reason. But Doctor Strange's gonna have to stop him. I don't think we're gonna actually see Dormammu in this movie, or any of those other people. I think we're gonna get a tease, where this is the first real Phase 3 movie. So they're gonna go in and they're gonna really, at this point, they have to lay out the future.
Yeah, but I guess Doctor Strange is a good good way to do that because he's so like powerful, where they can do like cover the entire world easily.
Yeah. What's it called? And then what else? Post-credit scene predictions.
Oof, that's rough because I know so little about like the character.
I do too.
That's hard. I feel like maybe will have nothing to do with Doctor Strange.
I think. Well, they don't really do that usually. Usually it ties into the movie. It is. I think the first one is gonna have something to do. I honestly, I hope that it has something to do with the Mandarin and him actually getting
the real
rings.
Mandarin.
The real Mandarin getting the rings. Because then what's the point of doing that stupid one shot where it's like the real Mandarin's out there, guys? Like.
That is true. What if it's what's his name? The guy who played that everyone loves. He's the guy that like is the evil businessman that was against Tony Stark in the second Iron Man.
Oh, Justin Hammer.
Yeah, it's him.
Nice.
Wow, the Scott Derrickson who's directing this.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully, this will be his first good movie because he has not had a good movie.
What else has he made?
He just had a bunch of crappy horror movies. Like his first real movie was like the 8th Hellraiser, which is where Pinhead comes from. He made The Exorcism of Emily Rose.
Classic.
Sinister. I don't even think he directed that. I think he just wrote it. Let me check. No, he directed Sinister. I don't think he came back for Sinister 2. And Deliver Us from Evil, which was that Eric Bana, like, he was a cop that was also an exorcist.
Nice. Oh, and then the other post-credit scene, I think the very end post-credit scene is going to tie into Thor the Dark World. Or Thor Ragnarok.
That makes sense.
Because,
that kind of
goes... You don't have to tie into Spider-Man. There's no feasible way for Doctor Strange to tie into Guardians of the Galaxy. So the only one that logically makes sense is Thor. So Thor has to be the one that this is going to tie back to. If they're going to tease the next, like, main movie you're going to see. Because what's it called? I think, like, even think back to Guardians of the Galaxy. Their post-credit scene didn't tie back to another Marvel movie. Like I said, Howard the Duck show up. Like as I said in the what's it called, the honest trailer for Guardians of the Galaxy. It's like you're waiting to see a clip from the next Avengers movie. Fuck you. Here's Howard the Duck. Like I think
Howard
like
the Duck is a masterpiece.
Web.
Howard the Duck is a masterpiece.
I think this is gonna I think Thor has to be the one it ties back to, and considering what's released about Thor Ragnarok, I think we know already that Thor goes to Earth to meet with Doctor Strange. There was a set picture that showed him holding a piece of paper that had Doctor Strange's address for the Sanctum Sanctorum, or however they pronounce it, in his hand. So I think that's gonna be it's gonna be him meeting Thor, and it's because the thing is too, they have to tie it back to him becoming an Avenger before Infinity War, and there's no other real movie to really push them together.
Yes, this will be the closest one because it kind of deals with like supernatural stuff, so it could.
It's the closest thing to cosmic that they can do, because like for whatever reason, Guardians of the Galaxy has to deal with them returning to Earth, or putting them in place where they can get curb stomped by Thanos, trying to get an Infinity Stone in the early parts of Infinity War.
Mm-hmm.
So this has got to be Thor's the only one that makes sense to tie into.
Definitely.
So preemptively, what do you think you're going to give this movie? Based solely on the trailers that you've seen.
Actually, even before I saw the Metacritic score, I'm thinking 7.5.
I'm seeing it in 3D.
I am not.
Because I saw a few reviews said, like, the effects are good, but the effects are better in 3D. Like Ant-Man. Like, remember I told you Ant-Man, you have to see Ant-Man in 3D, because it's, like, an experience. Like, I think this is a similar thing, where you have to see this movie in 3D if you're going to see it in theater, if you're going to waste the money.
I am not.
Therefore, I think just on the effects, and I think this is going to be the what I call the movie theater score, because it's not something I'm going to be able to replicate in my living room when I watch it again at home. It's gonna, I'm going to give it like an 8.5, 9, just on the effects alone. But then when I watch it in my living room, it's not going to be like Civil War, where it held up and it was just as good, and like the fights were just as hyped up. Like this is just going to be like, oh, okay, that looks pretty cool. Like Inception.
Yes, I know. For me, I would really like Inception, and it held up for me. But Inception has a really good story behind it. Besides that, I think this will have a good story behind it, though, too.
I think it's gonna. I honestly think it's just gonna be Iron Man with magic.
That could be a problem, but Iron Man is a good movie by itself.
Yeah, Iron Man. I think is my 4th favorite of the Marvel movies.
Oof, I would have to think hard. So, like, that Guardians of the Galaxy is definitely my favorite.
Guardians of the Galaxy and the Winter Soldier for me are tied as number 1.
Mm-hmm. I think for me, it's Guardians of the Galaxy, Iron Man 2, the Hulk, then the first Captain America. Those are top 4. No.
No, I think not joking around. I think it comes down. I think this one's gonna place in the top. It's got place in the top 10. I'm gonna say in the top 7 because it's got some stiff competition up at the top, and then if one's really bad, it'll have some stiff competition down at the bottom. But I think this is gonna. I think it's going to be between, in terms of quality, Ant-Man on the high end, and on the low end, I'm going to say the first Avengers movie.
All right, that's pretty good.
That's where I would place it. When we actually do the closing part, by then I'll actually have a ranking. That way I can actually squeeze it in somewhere. That
Yeah.
way it's not quite as just like me randomly pulling movie names out of my ass. It'll make a little bit more sense. So we will be back on Saturday night after we see the movie, which will be around 7 Eastern time.
Yep.
So I'm going at 4. So 4, 5, 6. Then I gotta go to GameStop and pick up Infinity War. So yeah, around 7. So we'll be back then with our final thoughts on Doctor Strange.
See you until then.